looking for, got it. I got interrupted, but that's all right. Need approval for the agenda that's been submitted to us.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Carissa made a motion, second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mark. All in favor? Oh, aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, please holler. Okay, the next one is the approval of the previous minutes that were published by Jamie some time ago. I think we had a chance to go through those.
Make the motion to approve the previous minutes.
I'll second.
That was Mandy. Okay, Carissa, you okay with that?
I seconded, yes.
Oh, you seconded. I'm sorry, I thought that was Mandy. You okay? I think you said yes.
Yep.
Derek, is Derek connected on audio?
It's adjusting.
I don't know what happened to
There,
him.
you can see him.
There he is. Okay, shake your head for yes, Mark. We'll go on. Okay, minutes are approved as submitted unanimously. Special business. Budget committee. I think we may want to defer that conversation because item number 2 on the manager's report is talking about the budget. So we're pretty much going to get into that anyway.
As well as 9A also, Tony.
All right. See, the recreational committee.
Is this, do you want us to chat now?
If there's any comments or anything coming up here.
I've tried hard to do this food truck night. I can't get anyone to call me back. So at this point, I'm kind of giving up on it. I even left a message with a crazy coop with the password for the internet so they could go try it. Nothing back.
That's interesting. Okay, well, if they ever come back at us, as we're kind of ready to tackle that when it comes back up. Thank you for your efforts on that.
Sure.
Personnel committee. Well, I think we have a bunch of stuff to talk about that, but I also note it's in Keith's write-up. District position number 13. Just for the record so that everybody knows, just backtracking for just a little bit before we go on, is that basically we had made an offer to Jeremy. Jeremy is somebody I have known, and we basically went after him to see if he could come to work for us, and we were not able to work things out. Then we had Jubal, who applied for the position, who came up here on the interview, and we made an offer to him, but we knew going into it, there was a big gap between his current salary and what we could offer. And I guess that really didn't work out. So currently, Keith has been looking into, we've been researching the possibility of a headhunter, who that could be, whatever. But not only that, we also have another applicant that filed this morning. And we're hopefully scheduling the interview for Thursday. Mark acknowledged that he would be available, I think. My time is wide open, Keith.
Okay.
So we'll leave it up to you to come back to us on that particular individual.
Okay.
Okay.
We haven't resume or anything yet.
Yes, it's in the emails.
Okay, I must not check my email since you sent it.
No, Keith sent it out probably about an hour ago, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we have his resume, we do have his application. Okay. So moving off of that topic, we'll pick it up again later on. I do not have.
Let's thank Keith for sticking around and helping. We greatly appreciate it.
Well, I got a gun to his head, so. I think I've been there with him several times already, and we do appreciate that. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We're glad he's being so liberal with us.
I'm glad to
I
help.
do not, thank you. I do not have any notification of any public comments that were submitted to us. So Let's see, I got a chat, see what that says. I can see it.
Nobody.
This is my first meeting. I'd like to be recognized to discuss traffic on the street. And that's coming from a Jim. Jim, being you are a new resident, I would just make a comment so you are aware of it. The traffic on the street is controlled by the sheriff's department. We do not have a police department in the subdivision. If you see speeding or you have problems with people doing things they're not supposed to on the roadways, please do not hesitate to call the sheriff's department. Now, I hope that will give you some insight. This is an issue that we've been dealing with since I lived here for the past 22 years. And I know other people can talk about it also. So like I said, the road managed, if it's a road condition, of course, that's the metro. And you can all call the office or the maintenance yard if it has to do with a roadblock or something blocking our roadways. And maybe we would gladly get involved to help resolve it. So I hope this answers your question, sir. And welcome to the subdivision, or at least to our meetings. We're glad to have you present.
May I respond?
Please do so if you can add to it.
The concern I have does not have to do with speeding, although that is an issue. I do understand the police manage that. But at an appropriate time, I would like to discuss the truck traffic, especially Forest Lake Management District truck traffic on the spur of Forest Lake Road that passes through our neighborhood. The challenge we're having is relentless truck traffic, much of which is from Forest Lake Management District vehicles passing through our street to get at areas farther up the hill when there are suitable arterial streets coming into the neighborhood that should be used for this traffic. So that's my concern, and at some point when you can accommodate it in the meeting, I'd like to address it in more detail.
Jim, I understand what you're saying, but I'm kind of vague on it. So I think from my perspective, unless I add into this, I would like you to basically give us an email to the office and copy the board members. I have no problems. And let us know
Did that
specifically.
on July 22nd. I have the email in front of me.
Keith, are you familiar with what the Jim is saying?
Jim, who did you send that email to?
I sent it to the management district, and I got a response from an administrative person there who said that she would forward this email to the board.
Okay.
I'm kind of a blank on it.
I'm looking. July 22nd, I don't have anything. Can you just give us the name of your road?
It's Forest Lake Drive, but it's the spur that goes off to the left, and the section of road between 501 and where Forest Lake Drive makes a hard right turn from Forest Lakes Drive on its way to 501. That little spur is renamed something else, which makes zero sense. I can't remember the name. It's like Terminal Street or whatever. It intersects 501 parallel with Alpine Forest Drive.
Oh, you're talking
Right at the
service
beginning.
road.
Service Road, yes.
Service road.
It's like, where did that come from? You have Forest Lakes Drive going all the way up through the neighborhood, and then one short block of this street was renamed or named originally, I don't know, was named Service Road. And Forest Lakes Drive goes off into a little spur part of the neighborhood that essentially is almost a dead end. And whenever any work is being done above us,
You're talking about
Forest
Snowbird?
Lakes Drive Management District trucks go through here nonstop.
Okay, let me back up just one thing. Okay, sir, the service road, which is the second entrance, was originally called the service road, and that was when the project was first developed. The truck traffic into the subdivision had to use the service road, could not use the Alpine Drive entrance. That goes back to 1975. Secondly, I think you're talking about the homes that are in what I would call Unit 5, which are on the left side of the entrance,
Yes,
which basically you have Snowbird that goes into a dead end,
yes,
which we're going to improve next year. That was already been budgeted and planned. And we had a section right above there that for the past 2 months, give or take timing, we basically have extended the service, water and sewer into that street. And Keith, you can help me out with the street name here.
Yeah, it's Pine Top and Spruce Way.
Pine Top and Spruce Way, which basically do connect back to, anyway. So that would have to go through Unit 5 to get to there to basically put the road base in and all that work. But I believe the project has been completed.
Correct. And that project went maybe three and a half, 4 months, something like that, doing that main line extension. But that's the only time that we would have a reason to cut through Unit 5 if we're doing maintenance in the rest of the subdivision.
Now, I do notice in Jim's behalf here that over the last 2 weeks, I have seen a red heavy-duty truck, dump truck, go through Unit 5 to go up the hill. And I'm not quite sure where he's going, because once in a while he's hauling dirt in, and the next time I see him, he's hauling dirt out. But that is not a Metro truck. The Metro truck, dump truck that we have is a blue Metro truck. And
Right.
it's got a sign on the driver's door. Correct?
Yes.
Keith, does our dump truck have a sign on the driver's door?
Yeah, all of our vehicles have signs on.
Okay. But I have seen a red dump truck coming through there, and I have no idea who it is.
Yeah, it's probably one of the contractors. I mean, it's definitely not ours, but yeah, ours have Forest Lakes Metro District on the side.
Yeah, and the only heavy duty 5-ton truck that we have is a blue one.
Yes.
Okay.
well, that's interesting news because the red truck has been coming through this neighborhood all summer.
I realize that, Jim, but he's not one of ours.
Okay.
Okay, because I have noted that because I take that shortcut too coming up the hill. And I have seen that red truck coming up, but for some reason, he's taken a shortcut through the Unit 5 subdivision to go up on the loop road. Now, I have seen that, but I have no idea who it is because there's no name on it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
That's, hopefully, maybe we can let the Metro people find out who that is and ask him to stick to the loop road when he's going up the hill and not cut through Unit 5. Because it is kind of a
Would be
steep hill.
helpful.
Because I do appreciate Jim's concern, and luckily I've seen it, so there's no doubt about it. So
May-
maybe,
This is Donna Thatcher. May I interrupt?
if you know something, if you can shed some light on what we're talking about, by all means.
It is more than one red dump truck. There are big trucks with huge cranes coming through on that road. It's not only dump trucks, it's a caravan of trucks. It's like we live on a truck route, no longer a residential area. And there are children there playing. And these trucks are not going 25 miles an hour.
So maybe if they are speeding, then I think a very good point is maybe one day we'll just contact the sheriff's department and have them police that section of road and tell them what you're looking for. And they can add a little fuel to the fire. And possibly what we can do from a Metro standpoint, try to find out who it is. I don't know, Felt Brothers,
Yeah.
they haven't been using heavy duty trucks up his way.
Well, they have. I mean, they've got a lot of construction going on.
Now they got 2 homes going up there.
Yeah. And if there's cranes, they're probably using the cranes to lift the trusses, but
That will just be a 2-3 day event.
I don't know.
No, it's a constant flow of truck traffic. It's not a 1 or 2 day event. It's constant.
Okay. Well, all I can think of is that we try to keep our eyes open, try to figure out who it is. And
If
intercede
if
and
you
ask
don't
him.
mind, I will resend the email. And if you would keep an eye out for it. Some of the things you've spoken of today make some of my comments outdated. But Donis is a neighbor across the street, and her observations are correct. I mean, it's the amount of truck traffic is pretty staggering. And one of the things that I mentioned is that the through traffic may be related to Google mapping and drivers becoming accustomed to this. I believe that there's something that a government entity or quasi-government entity can do to get Google Maps to redirect traffic. As you know, all of us have been taken off an arterial or even an interstate highway and put onto a surface street ridiculously. The other day, I was put into a dirt road network on my way to Arbalese, and I just couldn't believe it when the instructions should have been to just go down to the main highway and make a left. Perhaps something can be done about that, but we're talking about concrete pumpers, numerous dump trucks, building supply, occasionally trucks with heavy lift equipment and so forth, and endless numbers of either large dump trucks towing equipment trailers or like 3500 series dualies pulling equipment trailers. And this is endless. Our road is torn up as badly as Alpine Forest and the service road entrance, because the traffic is as high on Forest Lake Spur as it is on these main entrances.
On the map, it says
Okay,
West
Jim.
Forest Lakes, if you want to refer to it as that.
Okay,
Yeah, Jim, would you please send that email to manager@flmd.com?
will do. And I thank you for
The
hearing me
manager is
out.
Keith. And then Keith, when Keith gets it, he will forward it to the rest of the board members to get us on the
Manager
same
at FLMD.
FLMD.com. If you would, then we can see if we can do something here. I appreciate your notification, and I'll be the first to admit I'm guilty of cutting through that unit to come up the hill. I just didn't know. And years ago, that was not possible because it was cut out, it wasn't finished up there. But you have to keep one thing in mind, Jim, is that right now above you, there are at least 2 homes that are under construction right now that I know of. And there's 2 homes that were just completed. And I think the big contractor on this is Phelps Brothers, and he owns a whole bunch of lots up there.
Yeah.
So maybe we can talk to him to see if he can use the loop road for some of that traffic.
Well, here's my request, and it's in the email. I'm now trying to remember. I think it's Pine Valley Road is another arterial that intersects with 501. It's not an easy intersection, I understand. That's a problem in itself, and it should be fixed. To have an arterial level street have such a poor intersection with 501 is a problem, but that's the road these trucks should be using to get into those construction sites. And if you have identified a contractor who's handling the lion's share of this work, deeply appreciated if you could contact that contractor and say, look, we're getting complaints and you should be on this other road.
Understand, Jim. Send us that email if you would, and we can see what we can do. And like I said, we do, at least I know one of the contractors. I know Keith knows them also because he's been working with us quite a bit. Okay, Jim,
I
thank you very much.
very much, and I'm going to duck out now. I
Okay.
appreciate you hearing me very, very
At
much.
least the snow stopped, so at least from up here. All right. Let's see, I'm gonna go on to the manager reports. And the report from number A is, guess who?
Okay, all right, so I will go ahead and start. Rate, the number one item that I have in the manager's report deals with the rate increases. And I don't think I or staff can reiterate to folks that check the website. We've got a lot of information on the website that has to deal with the rate increase that went into effect, September's usage. And it has been reflected in the October 1st bill. I know we're still getting phone calls of folks asking why we are doing the increase. What was the genesis for the increase? All of that information is on our website and it's been publicized for the last at least 2 years. And discussions have started during Tony's tenure, which has been probably about 3 years.
Okay, if I may, I'm gonna jump in here for a second, being the topic came up.
Yeah,
Okay, I decided to look, I joined the board back in the early part of 2018. And I'm looking at an email dated October 25th, 2018, and the pursuant board meeting in November of 2018, where we were talking about getting a 5-year plan to address the needs of the community. We were talking about rate increases. We were talking about doing an analysis, a sewer and water rate studies. This topic has been live in and out board meetings ever since I've been on board. And it was one of the reasons I got involved to begin with, because when I joined the board, we were dipping into past earnings to pay the bills on a regular annual basis. So a rate increase has been very, very hot topic. Many times.
This is still Donna Thatcher, but it wouldn't be so bad if the road rate increase were okay. But this past week was the first time this summer that road has been dust controlled. The holes are so big going into the entrance, you could wreck your shocks, and the holes in the road are unbearable. There's no reason to have that increase if you're not going to maintain the road.
We're doing the best we can, and I think the one thing I will add about a road, the service road entrance and the main entrance has historically been lower than the road, the 501. As a result of that, it has a tendency to accumulate water, and once you accumulate water, it causes potholes.
and then
And-
higher traffic on that road as well, so that it takes more of a beating.
Well,
So-
I will have to say, I am new here. However, when I moved here 3 years ago, they did a fantastic job doing those roads and dust control. It seemed like every time you turned around. But this year, it's been the worst ever. And I had to even complain with my bill that I wasn't going to pay the road tax anymore until the dust control. That went on 3 months that I did that. And finally, this past week, it was done.
Okay, sorry, Keith, back to you, sir.
Okay. Second item has to do with the budget. We're into the budget cycle, as I briefed at the last 2 meetings. So today, there's 3 things that happened during the budget process. There's a draft budget presentation, there's public hearings of the draft budget, and then there's the final adoption of the budget. So today is a draft budget presentation that I will give to the board. And after this meeting, I have to notice the budget in the Durango Herald newspaper. And one of the things that I typically do is do not post the draft budget until after the presentation is given to the board. But last week I went ahead and I posted that up on the website so people could get an advance kind of notice on on what we're looking at as far as a budget for 2022. The public hearings of the draft budget will happen at the November 9th board meeting. And then the formal adoption of the budget will happen at the December 14th board meeting. And then we head into 2022. Next item has to do with the lead and copper annual testing and sampling. So this year we tested 11 homes for lead and copper. And that's a requirement, a yearly requirement that we have through the Colorado Department of Public Health. So we got all the test results back, we forwarded them to both the residents where the tests were taken and back to CDPHE. And so for these last 3 years, all test results have been within normal limits, which is really good. We're happy to hear that. So certificates of delinquency, this has to deal with residents that are delinquent in paying their monthly bills. So annually, every October, we have sent a certificate of delinquency to La Plata County. So they could follow up with those residents that are delinquent in their payments. So problem we run into is when those go to La Plata County, we lose our ability to manage the program, which includes any discussions with residents determining what properties the funds should be applied to if the county receives them. So once we send it to the county, if a resident does call us, it's out of our hands. So with that, we brought that process in-house. And Barb and Jamie started that in-house last year. And we have found it to be much more effective and efficient in making the collections happen. So it is our plan to continue in that mode unless significant issues arise where we absolutely have to get the county's support with that program. So Unit 3 amendment to the service plan. So this one is a carryover from the last board meeting. I'll read through it, but I'm kind of looking for some direction and some input from the board on how we should proceed with this. So on August 16, 2021, I spoke with Neil Starkebaum. And from our conversation, it became very clear that the county does not support the service plan amendment. In any event, he stated that he and the county manager had just met, and the major item that we needed to address and needed to submit before the pre-application conference, which was to identify how water, sewer, and road upgrades, maintenance, and services would be provided if the district did not provide it. He again made a reference to us orphaning Unit 3 because we're talking about taking that requirement out of the service plan. And clearly the county does not want to see any responsibilities for anything to do with Unit 3 falling to them. So when fire protection services were eliminated from the service plan in 1988, the proposed plan was for fire service to stand independently as their own district. We are now fighting land use plans on the proposed service plan amendment that are making it very difficult for an owner to provide their own services like hauling water, upgrading long spans of their roads to provide access, etc. At this point, it would be exceedingly difficult for a service plan amendment to occur through the Board of County Commissioners, given the lack of support for it in the county. So the question I posed was, should the district pursue the amendment or not do anything more at this time, knowing we have at least quantified the cost to provide the infrastructure, which further solidifies the fact that it is unattainable. So I kind of throw that out to the board for a short discussion. I know over the past several meetings, these have been long discussions. But I just think we need to come to a collective consensus on what my next action needs to be.
Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yep. Hey, Derek.
Hey, everybody. I think I sent a communication on this a while ago, and I think I agree that quantifying the amount of money it'll take to put in this infrastructure is a good move. I'm wondering, like I said in that last communication, if we don't try to amend the service plan, if we're rebuffed, then we can say, well, we're rebuffed. So, I mean, it's one more step, I think, to show that we're making a good faith effort to try to rectify the situation. If the county doesn't, the county says no, that's fine, but I think it puts the impetus then on them to explain why they're saying no. I understand why they're saying no, but I feel like it's, like I've said before, I think the county is having their cake and eating it too with this. You know, you can do this, this, and this, but you can't do that. And they're talking in circles a bit. I think a little bit. Maybe I'm not understanding the full extent of what the county is saying, but I think they're talking in circles with this whole situation. So I do agree that the quantification, you know, of all the expense to put in the infrastructure is great, but I wonder if we don't take the extra step to try to amend the service plan, the county is going to say no, and then that just leaves us, I think, a little better spot than just having the numbers on the infrastructure. Just my 2 cents.
I think the county has already said no. That's what I'm reading.
Have we formally gone through the process of trying to add it? I mean, I wouldn't mind putting the 3 county commissioners on the record as saying we're voting no. So
Yeah, I think that's what we did like 6 months ago. When we did submit it.
Right.
We put out a resolution basically trying to amend the service plan. I think we explained in there the cost associated with us doing anything and that we're not in a position to do it. The only thing that I can add that we've done, we sat down with Mandy and her representative, not with Mandy, her representative, and talked about what she's trying to accomplish up there. And I think in a way I may have opened the door that for some discussion that, hey, maybe we can help supply water, but that's about it. But there's no way we're gonna do the rest of it because there's a tower up there right next to Unit 3. But that died, I think, what, 3-4 months ago, Keith? Haven't heard it. So that kind of dead.
Yeah.
I think, like Derek mentioned, there's been conversations among the board members, and I think I pretty much put my note out there that, hey, we've gone 35 years with that resolution back in 1985 that kind of orphaned it to begin with. And since then, we've tried to clean things up. We've tried to resolve some open issues, which they probably didn't do in that back in 85, which they could have done. And now we're still stuck in the same place. We don't have the assets to it. The people that are buying these lots, I'm sorry to say, I don't think most of them don't have the assets to try to put money out to improve on it. And they're just trying to make do in a very bad situation. I mean, not picking on Rod, but no, he tried his damnedest to make something work up there for him and his family, and that's not working out. So my latest understanding is he bought another lot. He's going to build another home and subdivision. Right now he's renting because they've moved out of up there. And according to his son, they're trying to sell all but 2 lots. So he's pulling out.
well, I feel like if the county,
Keith? Go ahead, Derek.
I was gonna say, this is my last thing I'll say, if the county has formally said no to our attempt to amend the service plan, then I think we just stand pat. It is what it is.
Well, Derek, if I
Can we
could,
be sued at all? I just want to make sure, has this been run by council? I mean, people buying lots, did we have to disclose something when they bought these lots that we can't provide services?
Oh,
I just
yes.
want to make sure we can't be sued for this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. The resolution that basically said that is given to everybody who buys a lot up there that was filed in 1985. And when they buy a lot, the title company and the realtors are responsible to make the buyers aware of what restrictions exist up there. So yes, they get a copy of it, and they know that, hey,
Okay.
we're not on the limb or committed.
right. So Tony, but in the same token though, because this was Mandy, this was a question that we asked of our attorney. It was probably a year ago on whether or not we could be sued if we don't provide the services up there. And our attorney replied and said, I mean, anyone can sue anyone for anything. But the bottom
Right.
line is, now that we know that it's going to cost almost $30 million for the district to provide those resources, they can sue us, but they're going to get blood from a turnip because we can't afford to do it.
Right.
So, but
I just
Derek,
didn't know if there was any onus on that, because I know when I bought my home here, I was told it was not in an HOA and there were no covenants. But there are actual covenants with the Metro District because there are certain easements on your property that the Metro District keeps. But even the title company didn't pass that on to me. So I was just wondering if people buying vacant land that probably don't even have a lender that's going to dig for this stuff, Are they actually being provided this notice, and could they sue on those grounds? Because technically, Forest Lakes is not an HOA, so they don't do their same due diligence.
Yeah, well, there's a different, there is no HOA, Mandy, that's a fact.
Right.
But in the same
Right.
token, when you bought your property, you should have been know there was covenants and restrictions on the property.
I was
know.
told there were none, and they were not provided.
Well, then you have a case against your realtor and the title company, because I know when I bought it, I was told about that. And I was told that
Right.
there were covenants. And there's
I'm
covenants.
just saying from my perspective,
Understand.
maybe other people have the same situation, and I just, yikes.
Well,
That
you
could
go
be
back
grounds for a
against,
lawsuit.
you go back against the source that basically screwed up. In this case, in your case, it's the title company and the realtor. Because there are some
Right.
realtors up there that basically have made the statement that there are no covenants. And I know of one that's very notorious for it,
Mm-hmm.
and she is dead wrong. And she's been told by her coworkers to stop it, but she still doesn't. So
Right.
we can't control that, so go sue the realtor. Sorry.
I just didn't know if we were liable.
No, but like Keith said, anybody can sue anybody for any reason. But
And I guess that's ultimately the deterrent, is that if you're going to get nothing, why would you sue? But
Right,
understand.
yeah. And so Derek, back to your comment though, Derek, because we're fighting land use plans right now. So that's a big issue there. And then before the county will even entertain us taking our resolution in front of the Board of County Commissioners, they want to know, okay, district, if you're not going to provide water, sewer, or road upgrades, what is the plan to allow them to happen? For instance, so when we're talking water, our plan would be, and that's what some of the residents have requested, is that they be allowed to haul water. But now the county comes back saying, hold it, that is in disagreement with the land use plan. So bang, I won't say we're screwed there, but we are.
no,
We don't have an option. And
But that's
road
my-
upgrades,
but that's my point, is that the county is saying, how are you going to handle this? Knowing full well you can't handle it. So
exactly.
explain it to us, which I think is a totally disingenuous question to even ask us. That's just,
Well, and that's even coming from their manager, let's see, I think he's called the county manager. I mean, they wanted those questions answered, and as far as roads. Okay, so our plan is to allow the residents to upgrade their own roads. So now the county comes back saying, well, that doesn't allow full access into the unit. Because like Candace Mann did, she upgraded just the roads in front of her 30 lots. So now the other lots that are between her lot and the demarcation point heading into unit 3, what happens there? So, okay, so there's nothing, we can't address that. So yeah.
I'll just say again, I think that's very disingenuous of the county to even put it out there. That's ridiculous to me.
We're going around in circles here, right?
Yeah.
We went in with good faith efforts in order to try to make this process work. And to resolve this for something that's been going on for 40 years or whatever. But
I think that-
we're in a position where I'm not sure that we can.
But I think that's my point. As long as we're showing we have a track record, we've done this, and this to show a good faith effort to try to rectify the situation. That makes a lawsuit to me. Go ahead and sue us because we're trying to fix the problem. Go talk to the county, and so I'm in a court of law that those things sometimes don't matter. But I feel like if we can show we've made effort after effort to fix the situation on behalf of lot owners, go ahead and sue us, but
We've come a long ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, Keith, to answer your question, and everyone except Mark, I think, and he can voice his opinion, I think right now, as a cumulative non-vote of the board members, we're not going to do anything at this point.
What else do we do?
That's that's basically what I'm hearing, Carissa.
Yeah,
And if you go back to my email, basically my standpoint was, if it is a lawsuit someday, okay, let there be a lawsuit, we'll deal with that when it comes, we'll do whatever. And maybe somebody could force us to go do something we can't do, we don't have the money to do. So be it. And if we are approached by any large lot owner to try to work with some kind of resolution, I think we should listen. But so far, other than a meeting that Keith and I had with not Mandy's, sorry,
Candace Mann, yep,
Candace Mann's person, I
Yeah.
think basically we agreed to listen and talk. So that door we should leave open if it ever comes up again. But as far as the county's concerned, hey, they know where we stand. They told us where they stand. And if they're not gonna do anything else, then I think we should follow suit.
Mark, are you okay with that?
Oh, this is one of those hard deals. Nobody wants to see it go the way it is. I'd love to see us be able to find some way to develop it, but we can't afford that price tag. The county's making it really tough to putting us in a catch-22 situation.
right.
If they pretty much already told us anything we submit is going to be denied, I don't know that we need to go any further. I think we have that documented. I know we don't have the new attorney on board yet, but once we have a new attorney on board, I suspect we should just brief him in on this issue and see if he has any additional take on it.
Mark, the new attorney is more than likely going to be an attorney that has dealt with us in the past. And I believe he's familiar with the situation up at Unit 3.
Okay, but have we ever had him comment on the situation? Do we know what his position is?
I don't think we ever asked him, because at least I think he was our attorney back when I got involved back in 2018. So anyway,
Well, I don't see a way forward other than just saying we got to go status quo. Somebody may come up with an idea sometime. Somebody wants to come in and do some minor upgrades in that area. And like you said, I think we should keep the door open. If somebody has a suggestion how it can be addressed, but I don't see how we can address it currently in the current situation.
And I think if
Are
that,
you on board with that?
Yeah.
I think we're all on the same page.
Okay,
I would just add that if the catch-22 situation place we're in right now is where we're going to be, then I think a formal letter to the county just saying, we're here and you're kind of the reason why we're here. I think that's okay. It's not about trying to assign blame. It's just trying to, the ball to me is not in our court. I feel like, and the county is again being disingenuous about it. It's a bit like saying, hey, Tony Schreier, it'll cost you $30 million to cut your own hair. You can't do that. Nobody else in the world can cut your hair. So tell us how you're going to cut your hair.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna have Ivan do it. He lives right down the road.
Do it myself for free, but
Yeah, I'll take care of you, Tony. I'll take care of you. Okay,
Okay.
I'll
okay.
stop beating the dead horse.
I think basically for the record, Keith, I think you basically heard what the board members think.
Yeah.
And maybe you can meet with either Derek or somebody, just kind of do a draft basically that we can send over to, maybe with the attorney's help. And they tell the county, says, hey, you're putting us between a rock and a hard spot, and says, we're not gonna give, we don't know where to go.
Yeah,
And kind of just close the door on the issue for the time being.
yeah,
And list all those ways we've tried to be, helpful and accommodating wherever it is and try to find a solution.
Okay,
yep, agreed. Okay,
all righty. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll see number 5 next month.
nope. Okay, so sewer jetting and manhole repairs, and that's to address our I&I problem, inflow and infiltration. So we again had our contractor in the subdivision this year with the focus on relining manholes. So our original budget was $20K, and the board authorized us to use an additional $20,000 from reserves to help combat the I&I issues, because that's a major thing that we have to get a handle on before we start looking at a new plant or sizing a new plant in about 10 years or so. So with that, we completed the relining of 7 manholes this year. We budgeted that amount again in 2022 to address that. And again, in 2022, our focus is going to be first on the manholes, with relining the manholes, and then on putting a camera with video through the distribution lines. We have found that our distribution lines there may be some possible issues with them, but they aren't a major source of I&I as we know it at this date. And that's why we're focusing on manhole rehabilitation. Next item has to do with the small improvement district program for water and sewer mainline extensions. And this one has to do with Snowbird. So again, project scheduled to be completed the summer of 2022. And I believe we only have 2 lot owners that have not prepaid their tap fees. They've been notified, they've agreed to, and we reminded them that we need to see their prepaid tap fees by November 1st in order for us to start looking at ordering materials for next year. Next item is water and sewer taps for 2021. So every year we advertise that we will not complete sewer water taps past November 1st due to weather variables, and that remains in effect for this year. Currently O&M has 3 remaining taps to complete before then, which includes those required for the new office building. In this case, with our current workload with other higher priority taskings, we don't anticipate having the time or personnel to do any other taps in 2021 outside of the remaining 3. Wastewater treatment plant discharge permit, nothing from CDPHE. Annual hydrant testing. So FLMD has over 130 hydrants in the subdivision and in River Ranch. So this year we tested 59 with the balance of them being tested in 2020. And all of our test results on a yearly basis are forwarded to Upper Pine. Annual performance evaluations. This year's performance evaluations of all district staff, excluding me, are complete. And any first of year raises and bonuses are of course based upon those evaluations. So district manager vacant or district vacant positions. So the district and the board of directors is currently advertising an equipment operator's position and the position for the district manager. For those that are interested in either one of those positions, please see the job advertisements both on our website and on Indeed. And then applications through our website can either be dropped off at the main office on Mountain View or emailed to me at manager@flmd.com. Portable emergency generator and pressure reducing stations projects. So our CIP identified several PRS projects that we need to complete in 2022, and that we need a portable emergency generator that can be used to power up critical infrastructure during power outages. The week of September 20th, we coordinated with San Juan Engineering and Browns Hill Engineering to get proposals to start completing design work with these projects potentially occurring in 2022. The goal is to start design using funds from the 2021 budget and to complete design over the winter and to seek funding through grants and such in early spring and to complete the projects in summer 2022. So our annual biosolids reporting, we're required to send a report to CDPHE annually that depicts the quantity of solids that are removed from our sewage ponds. Through our new ORC, who is Mark Fusen, we learned that CDPHE did not have reports for 2018 or 2020. And so we followed up with them and provided them with those reports. And also now have that as part of my continuity folder so that the new district manager will know to do this in February of each year for the previous year. So as for your information, we have a project in 2022 capital list to remove solids from cell 3, because we've already done solids from cells 2 and 4, partially from cell 3, but we need to finish cell 3 and the total estimated cost is 100 grand. So it's a very expensive project to remove the solids from our lagoons. Next item has to do with the new office building. So the contractor completed the foundation. He's in the process of installing the French drain and backfilling the foundations. We also coordinated with Black Hills Energy on their natural gas requirements. And our contractor will provide the trench this week so Black Hills can get in next week to install their line in our trench. And then he also anticipates completing the trench for the water line and then for the electric lines this week as well. So the lumber package, including the trusses, was originally due to be received by October 5th. That has now been delayed 2 weeks. So the contractor is still anticipating having the building completed by the end of December. I think he's pretty optimistic. I'm still thinking it's going to be January, February 2022, given the delays with the issuance of the building permit and the receipt of the lumber package. So I updated First Southwest Bank, Paul Broderick, as well on the schedule. So from our contractor standpoint, I reminded him that all county inspection reports, and so far the footers and the stem walls have been inspected and passed, and any lien releases need to be provided to me so I can provide copies to First Southwest. So Hodder Construction has them and will provide them to me with the next draw requests. Once received, I'll forward them to First Southwest. So given the long lead on receiving appliances, we purchased the refrigerator, the range, and the hood, and they were delivered to Mountain View on October 6th. So our conference room is a little busy right now with big things sitting in there. So we have to, if we have an interview, we may have to move some things around, but we can work that. So O&M anticipates having a water line and meter installed in the next 2 weeks. The south entrance road will be closed for a few days to tap the water main line. The exact closure time frame will be posted on our website. And I've also included a photo that shows the stem walls and the French drain that was installed around the foundation. And the final item is the solar installation project. So given the unpredictability of the market, with most things today, Shaw Solar has already purchased the solar panels for installation of the solar systems for next spring. He's going to be storing most of them in the district O&M yard, and we have requested a statement from him that absolves the district of any responsibility if panels happen to get stolen or damaged or anything that the district had nothing to do with. He has complied with that request, and we look forward to helping make this project become a reality. And that was my last item.
Thank you very much, Keith.
You're welcome.
I
Can
think
I just
Jamie,
interject here? We've had 2 questions on putting up cameras for, I guess, that truck movement. And I wanted just to answer Bonnie that even if we did give the license plates to the sheriff, he cannot give us information back because of privacy
Right.
laws issues. So, but thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah.
Jamie, I think is still on. She's still got a little red mark across.
I am. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Basically, I know it's off the topic, but how's your mother?
She's doing better. Thank you.
And you're still out of town, I assume, or you're back in?
Nope, I'm back.
You're back.
I am. All righty.
You're up.
So as far as the audit, O&M have been documenting all invoices, splitting it up by percentage. So that's been helpful. As far as Cassell, we're currently updating our spreadsheets for the load tables with new rates, which requires us to manually enter each rate into each account line. So this process is very time consuming and we're still working on it. After we get that complete, then we'll be assigned a project manager and then we'll have a live date. And still little by little sorting through office files and getting rid of stuff that we no longer need.
On that
Yes,
assigned
sir.
live date, Jamie, do you have any idea as to what the probability is when that would occur? And you,
The first of the year is what I'm assuming.
okay. 2022. 3 twos. And I go play the lottery. All right, thank you very much, Jamie. Jim, I know you're out there someplace because I still see your name up here. Hello, Jim. Oh, now I got 2 Jims.
Let me see.
Yep. 3 gems.
3 Jims.
Hit the
Jim,
button
Jim.
on the upper right to unmute.
Yeah, I got Jim Squires.
I got Jim and Jim.
Huh.
Jamie, can you unmute him? Oh,
Jim
There you go.
Square.
I'm just listening. I'm not the Jim you're looking for.
oh, okay.
That's the first Jim.
Thank you.
Okay. One's accounted for.
Yeah, I don't know why he's,
Okay.
I'm not able to unmute him.
He's unmuted now, the second one.
Yeah.
Are you there?
There he is.
Hey, there you are.
Jim.
I'm trying to figure out which Jim you were.
So was I.
You're up, sir.
Okay, we cleaned up the pond 1. We keep getting ready for this inspection that hasn't come yet. So we had to clean up the pond 1, had to get all the tomato plants that were growing on top and everything out. We completed a water tap up on Ridgetop Drive. We replaced the filters in our blower building. We only used to do it like twice a year, and it was recommended we start doing it every month. So I had ordered extra filters, and that should keep everything a lot cooler and working better. We repaired another water leak up on Hilltop Drive. And Keith mentioned that we met with Rick Johnson from engineering, San Juan Engineering, about the PRVs and the emergency generators. We finished the hydrant testing. Browns Hill installed a new sensor in our lift station because we kept getting false readings. It kept telling us it was overflowing. And that's one place you don't want it to overflow, especially outside our door. October 28th and 29th, we removed the duckweed off of our pond 4. And they've been working on the roads, and a lot of times when our guys are up there in that section, they do go up 5 because they're working their way down from the top. So some of our trucks were up there, but there's really, they're working right in that area. So
Hey,
that's
Jim.
why that gentleman might have seen our trucks once in a little bit more.
Yeah, well, Jim, I need you back up a second. You said October 28th and 29 you removed past tense.
Yes,
28
the
and 29, the 28 and 29 is 2 weeks from now.
September.
sorry, September.
Okay. Thank you.
I was just thinking ahead.
I know you are.
Hey, Jim, real quick. So for those that may not know, Jim, why do we remove the duckweed from the ponds?
Because it affects the readings on our wastewater readings. And if it falls into the pond, it's that green stuff you see on top of the ponds all over. When it dies and it gets too cold and it dies, it goes to the bottom and creates a sludge. And that's what Keith was talking about, taking the sludge out of the ponds next year.
Yeah.
So we have to get it off before it freezes. We got most of it off. We're going to do one more quick run through it because there's just a little bit that it'll keep growing. So we'll get that off. Water taps. The water taps. We're running into trouble getting parts. We keep running out of, we ended up with a short 1 meter pit. And those have to be ordered in advance. So I've got the guy coming in from Corin, Maine next week, and he promised me he'd see if he could get a meter pit, because we do have one up on Alpine, Pine Valley, that, for the new house, Keith,
Yep.
we had to take that meter pit and move it up to Pine Top when that one was busted up.
Oh, okay.
So we had just enough, but then when I called to order new ones, he said, well, you already have 6 on back order. And I said, well, what do we, so he said, he's gonna bring me a whole list of what we have on back order. It's been really hard, especially trying to get fittings, anything die cast, brass, which we use so that it doesn't deteriorate. And we did finally get our meter pit covers, that we ordered them back in May, and we just got them in last week. Also the solar panels. One truck of solar panels is down at Shaw Solar, because they didn't have anybody here to take them off last Friday. And yesterday, our guys, he told me he would call me ahead of time, but his truck was here at 9 o'clock in the morning when I was down here, because I was calling in locates for a job site. And so I got hold of him, and apparently the fire department is getting solar panels too from the same company.
Oh.
And they thought these 19 pallets of solar panels were theirs.
Oh.
Well, when I talked to John, he said, nah, he said they have their address, but those were our panels. Because the fire department couldn't figure out how they were going to get 19 panels into their bay. And he said, no, those are yours. They go down there to the shop, but we're going to bring 2 pallets of solar panels to the fire department from our shop. So they only had 2 panels, and it took them over 5 hours to unload those here at our shop. Luckily, I was able to get hold of one of the guys, and he came in and just kind of made sure everything was okay. He opened up, and then he came back down later on because we were closed. And now back to the trucks. Everything's up and running. We're been working on the snowplow trucks, and we had no incidents. But there is I don't know what color McCarty's trucks are. I think they're red and white. But he's hauling a lot of stone out of Unit 3. There's 2 big, I think Clarissa called them cranes. They're 2 big 310 backhoes. And they went up in front of my house yesterday. And his trucks have been hauling rock. They're almost like they're mining rock out of Unit 3. So I'm not quite sure where he's getting it from, but there's some big heavy duty trucks coming down the road. So that's the only observation. And I know who they are because I saw them hauling the excavators up.
On the Unit 3 up there?
Yep. Somebody's either sold them rock or he's doing some work. I don't know how much work he could be doing. Last year, he was buying rock from, I think it was Rob or somebody like that. They were doing work and swapping out, or I don't know where he's getting it from, but he's mining rocks up,
Well, I saw one dump truck, but the rock filled the whole bed up. And that was a boulder. That's not a rock.
Oh, yeah, it's big stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
Cardi does a lot of rock work, especially up around Bayacito. And he loves rock. So
Well, if you know him, maybe you could call him and tell him to stop using Unit 5 as an entrance and exit.
those guys don't listen to me.
Yeah, it's worth a try. Because it's actually easier for them to go the other way, so. but anyway.
I think McCarty, when he goes to Unit 3, he's using, because he comes down in front of my house.
Right. Yeah, he shouldn't be going through Unit 5.
No. Yeah, but I know he's been hauling some stuff up to a few lots up there.
Pardon me?
Okay. Okay.
I think we just lost Jim.
No, I'm still here. I'm all done.
Yeah, well done. Okay, sorry. Thank you very much, Jim. No, don't go away. I got a question for you. You were talking about work roads on Unit 1. Unit 1, the question I have has to do with the service road off of 501, that's first 10, 15 feet. Notoriously, that holds water. Have we ever thought of increasing the height of our service road and crowning it so the water doesn't reside in that section? Has that ever been thought about or considered?
It holds water because it's either asphalt or cement. And those big old potholes, they're actually not supposed to be ours. It should be the La Plata County because they're the ones who put the apron in. But I know there's a big thing about that being not really theirs. So we're planning on, as soon as it quits snowing or raining this week, we're gonna put some cement in those big potholes again. It's only a temporary fix until you decide what, whatever you want to do with that asphalt, entrance.
Okay, because the issue is, if I can remember correctly, when the La Plata County came back to us, they say the service road is an illegal entrance. It
Correct.
was only designed only at the time the subdivision was being developed, and then should have been discontinued.
Yeah.
Which the case, that never happened. So they are basically disclaiming any responsibility for that section.
Sensing a theme here, but
Right, and that's where the big trucks come in and out, and we're just as bad because we try to stay to that side with our big dump trucks too.
So are you saying that if we go back and dig out the old proposal that we had a couple of years ago, I think before Derek and Mandy and a couple of board members were here, that we had thought about paving to the first crossover that's now blocked and putting asphalt in there? And that kind of got shot to hell in the board meeting that one time.
You did.
Well, I think if you, I think if you just fix the approach, I think that would, and make it heavier instead of blacktop, make it cement. I think that would be a better idea than trying to do that whole road, because if you do that whole road, we'll have to raise all the manholes that are along there. And I don't really, like I said, you see the big dump trucks going up there, unless that whole area was tore out and put in better foundation and everything else. Asphalt's not gonna hold up because it would do the same thing as the approach. The
Okay,
approach is the biggest problem.
All right, would you do us, the board, a favor, and you and Keith get your heads together and kindly come up with a potential resolution, what it would cost to resolve that problem on entrance? Because really, like the lady said, it is bad. And those damn potholes, hell, you think they go to China.
Yeah, and they really, and we understand that right now, Alpine, Pine Valley, Forest Lakes, as soon as it rains, it just destroys everything. And we had a problem, because I heard people mention about up in Unit 1, and you too, Tony. Early this spring, we could not get lig, and all we could get was mag chloride. And when we do the roads and use mag chloride, it does not hold up. It'll fall apart within like 3 weeks.
Yep.
So that was a lot of our problem. We've just been chasing potholes. They're at the front entrance, and they're going to be going up Forest Lakes Drive all the way up to Hillside again. So we're just sending it. We only got 2 guys and 1 grader, and
Oh, I understand. Yeah, anyway, let's put a proposal together to put a dollar figure on it to do that one section that we talked about that always gets to be the worst of it. Okay, if you don't mind, we could talk about that next month and maybe have some numbers for it. You think, Keith?
Are you talking on both? You're talking both roads, all right? Both the service road and Alpine Forest?
No, primarily the service road is the worst. The Alpine Forest one is not that bad. Because the county did make that turn lane there, so that doesn't get beat up as bad as the other one does.
Oh, you're talking just on the asphalt section, the approach into the sub, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, just that one section that basically we talked about paving at one time and that really didn't go. Then we tried to put it on the county and they came back and says, hey, it's you guys' problem, says that road's illegal.
Yeah,
So maybe we can do something like Jim suggested, put some concrete or whatever in that one section. Because it needs to be raised up a little bit so the water doesn't drain into it. Anyway, if you guys can do something, we'd appreciate it.
yeah.
Take a look, please. All right, Jim, thank you very much for your insight. We appreciate you. And get your plows ready. I think we're gonna need them. All right, financials, back to Keith.
Okay, all right, so on property tax distribution, we're at about 98.9% of this year's distribution. Over 12-month period, we would figure we're at about 75% at this point in time. We're at 98.9, so there's not much more that we're gonna see coming in on property taxes, but so next item is the water pumping. So in September, we pumped about 5.9 million gallons of water between the 4 wells. August, 5.6. And then we show the comparison between the 3 years. 2019 was the lowest, where we had 4.4 million gallons. In 2019, 6.1 million gallons in 2020, and 5.9 million gallons at this time in 2021. And I'm really happy we didn't have to go to strict water conservation through the drought, but it looks like we're definitely past that time of the year. So on the budget to income expense report, so revenues right now for the general fund are 84%, expenses are at 85%, so we're about 1% over on expenses compared to revenues. The water fund revenues are 73%. Expenses are 75%, so we're about 2% over on expenses to revenues. Sewer fund, we're at 78% with revenues, and expenses are at 71%. So across the board, all 3 funds, all 3 budgets. So revenues are at 79% of budgeted and expenses are at 78%. Now, I compared this year to where we were last year, and we're a little bit higher on expenditures. At this point, I don't expect that we're going to exceed this year's annual budget, but had a discussion with staff that we have 3 categories of projects that we work on in the district. First one is life, health, and safety, highest priority. The second are mission critical, and the third are quality of life. So I've asked Jim and Jamie that we collectively focus on only those items that fall into the top 2 categories, because I want to make sure we slide in the home plate like we did last year, on budget or slightly below. The other part to this is the additional revenues that we will be seeing coming in from October to December because of the increased rates. So that's another thing, another reason that I think we're going to be okay this year. So I'm not worried at this point whatsoever.
All right, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Unfinished business, recreational committee initiative. I think we kind of covered that up front when we had Mandy talk about what she was doing.
Tony, we haven't yet. The only reason I say that is because over the past probably 4 or 5 months, the Recreation Committee has come up with different ideas that they wanted to implement throughout the subdivision. One being the food vendor trucks,
Right.
One being the ice rink. I think another one had to do with the dock. And we were going to set time apart at one of the meetings to try to talk about some of these, but that's a reason for that line item being on the agenda still.
Okay. We should actually consolidate that with the Recreation Committee back in 5B. Anyway, that's fine. Okay, new business, draft budget, whoopee. Okay, Keith, I guess that's you again, or is it you or Mark?
No, it's me.
It's you, okay.
Yeah. So I don't want to go into a lot of details because like I said, I've provided copies of this to the board. It's on our website. So what I want to do is kind of highlight some of the big items in the draft 2022 budget. And the budget for 2022, just like the previous years, is balanced. So balance meaning that the expenses equal the revenues. And in my document, I show that we're going to see about a $400,000. We're budgeting for about a $400,000 increase in 2022 due to the increased rates. And all of that, the plan right now is that's going to capital. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we as a district have to focus on is trying to hit a lot of these main capital infrastructure requirements. So in the tables, you can see the increases overall, plus in each one of the funds, the general, the water, and the sewer fund. And I calculated based upon the number of people and the number of folks paying fees, what our increase would be for each one of our rates. So that was included in the budget. So between the 2021 and 2022 budget, it's about a 17.3% increase. And like I say, it's due to the rate increases. So property taxes this year. So in 2021, the allocation of property taxes to FLMD totaled about $661,946. So we received our initial allocation for 2022 from La Plata County, and that totals $704,108. And that's based upon the taxable assessed valuation increasing from about 18.6 million in 2021 to 19.8 million in 2022. So those increases they're also in the budget. Each year we see funds called the Highway Users Tax Fund that we get from La Plata County. This year we're looking, we were notified for 2022 that our allocation will be about 55,707. And it's a 1.8% increase over 2021. Again, that is identified in the budget. So capital. Total capital requirements for 2022 is 808,986. So in the general fund is 193,000, $1. Water fund 414,295. And in the sewer fund is 201,672. And I've got a list of all of the items that we're talking about doing in 2022 as far as capital. And the majority of what I show here, the big dollar items, what I show here come from the capital improvements plan that was done by Rick Johnson from San Juan Engineering. The only item that I don't know if we're going to have enough funding for in 2022 is Forest Lakes Parks Upgrade Phase 3. So right now that's identified, that's down at the bottom of the list as an unfunded requirement pending availability of funds in case something else does not get funded next year. So I'll let you all look at that list and you can see those instead of me going through each one of them. So this budget, we're not planning on any funds coming from cash reserves, which is good. And that's where we need to be as a district so we can start putting funds into the bank account, which in the future can be used for matching funds on grants and loans and all those different types of things. So right now, no cash reserves are planned to go into the budget. But we're planning on funds going from the budget into cash reserves in the amount of approximately 40K. And again, that depends upon whether other operational requirements may change as priority. Right now, that is the plan.
I
So
have one question for you on your list, Keith, and it's a very small one, really.
sure.
The snow court extension. You got it on there for $17,000.
Yes.
Would that not come out of the impact account?
Well, no. Well, what's coming out of the impact account is what's being paid by the prepaid taps.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. So
There's a gap there.
right.
Okay, so you're saying there was not enough to cover. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Kind of answered this up. Thank you.
Yeah. So under Part E, under notes, so just like we had this year, we have budgeted a grant writer. And it's a provision for a part-time grant writer, which would be an outside contractor, that we can pursue different avenues of funding for our projects. So my plan is that this individual will work up to 10 hours per week. We could even find a grant to fund this person's wage, which would really be ideal. This person would be hired or contracted with this fall, so he or she can start pursuing grants for next year's construction season. So we've got a lot of projects in our CIP that we need to start addressing, and of course, we can't fund that from the district's own budget or from cash reserves. So finding those grants and finding different areas where we can pursue loans even is going to be key to us being successful in executing our CIP program. Next item is our project manager. Had this person budgeted in 2021 as well, but we did not need this person. It was too soon in front of the capital improvements plan. So it's in 2022. So the plan is that this part-time project manager would start possibly in May or June or earlier 2022 once a grant writer secures funding for the proposed construction projects. This person could be hired part-time by the district and would work up to 30 hours per week. And again, the grant writer could even look for different avenues to fund this person's wage. And then it's kind of no cost to the district. So the vision for the project manager would be to write scopes of work, cost estimates, contracts, inspect them, manage invoices, and to get the project folders and so forth together to do proper project closeouts. And this person, another way to put it would be from cradle to grave project management. As far as personnel, another part to this is we're projecting the cost for a full-time comptroller. That would be a district employee. This person would have a degree in accounting and have at least 5 years of accounting experience. He or she would oversee the accounting and financial reporting procedures for the district, including accounts payables and receivables, payroll, loan transactions, maintain a system of internal controls to ensure the appropriate securing and use of funds. Choking here. Including assisting internal and external auditors, managing all accounting transactions, budget and loan activity. So with this new position, it is proposed that our current office manager's title would change to a controller, and she and the comptroller would handle the above job requirements that I just talked about. The leadership and in-depth knowledge of accounting practices and principles would fall to the comptroller. The current office assistant would continue to handle monthly billings, but would also be the main interface with the public via telephone and walk-in traffic. Once a new office building is constructed, this interface is going to be more critical, because even though we're going to have public walk-in hours, we're anticipating that there will be more foot traffic and more phone calls once we move up to the subdivision. So budget is salary or wage increases. So the new district manager, that salary is going to be, it's to be determined at this point. We're just not really sure. So in the budget, I currently initially budgeted 104,000 to start and an increase up to 110 after 6 months. The comptroller position, which the initial budgeted salary is 75K with a proposed increase during the year up to about 78K. The office manager / controller, not planning any proposed increases at this time since she received a raise of $23.50 in September 2021 as part of the salary comparison with her counterparts. And that's Jamie. The office assistant Barb, no proposed increase since she received a raise to $18.50 in August 2021 as part of a program that I developed called Going Above and Beyond program, where I felt that it was prudent to recognize those that were continually going above and beyond and to not make them wait until year end in order to get an increase. So Barb fell into that position, as did Austin Yates. So the O&M supervisor, Jim Spitzer, proposed increase is from $29.44 to $30.62. Just mentioned Austin a second ago, no proposed increase at budget time. Trevor Mose, he was promoted to the working foreman when Tyler Ludwig resigned. So at that point, Trevor received a raise to 26 per hour. No proposed increase at the beginning of 2022. However, a proposed increase to 27 in 2022 when he completes his water and wastewater certifications. Tim Ellis, equipment operator again, a proposed increase from $32.88 to $32.93. Kyle Williams, equipment operator as well, proposed increases from $22 to $22.50, as the same is for Daryl Johnson. We have a vacant equipment operator position. The proposed starting salary will be 22. So Jim and I got together, and I think Mark had some input into this as well, and Carissa. When we started looking across the board and comparing what our employees get paid as compared to their counterparts. And our starting pay for equipment operators was $20, and it was low. And I think that was one of the big reasons over time, we have been having problems getting equipment operators and retaining them. So we increased the baseline to $22 for all of our equipment operators when we hired them. And currently, the district manager, myself, and Jim do not get medical benefits from the district. They're paid by another entity. However, the 2022 budget reflects the district paying medical benefits to both the new district manager and future O&M supervisor once Jim leaves the district in the spring of 2022 or whenever that time frame happens. So the proposed end of year bonuses for district employees is $500, which is consistent with other years. The debt of $50,000 per year that the sewer fund owes the water fund is accounted for as well in the budget. And after 2022, the sewer fund will owe the water fund $211,000. And the budget message is in there. I won't read through that. Gives a whole lot more information about kind of the thinking of budgetary thinking for projects and all that kind of stuff.
I do have one question about bonuses, Keith.
Yes.
When we say the bonuses for district employees, is that all employees across the board, no matter what title?
Yes, that's how it's been over the last several years for those that have earned it. It's been a $500 increase. Now, for the part-time employees, it was, I think we paid $250 last year.
How about the managers?
The manager, that's totally, the managers, yeah, everyone got $500 across the board.
Well, in the past, I don't know about last year, but I know the year before that, the district managers and the office managers did not get anything.
Last year?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure about last year, but I think before that.
Okay, so
The
what,
reason I'm asking, there's a reason I'm asking. So let me just clarify. Maybe that makes more sense.
okay,
I think the manager's position are basically are responsible for the district on a day-to-day basis. Yourself, and I would have to see, I see three people really, maybe I'm wrong. I see Jim, you, and Jamie
yes,
right now as the three people that are basically controlling what's happening to us. And to give them a $500 bonus, I think it's minimal. I think the manager, based on what the performance was over the last 12 months, I think the board should have the ability to grant not an increase, but
This is
a,
what happened last year. $500 each full-time employee, $150 to Kyle because he started in August. Barb got $300. Danny was there since May. He got $200. District manager is excluded, approved by the president. Someone got $50 gift card. I think that was the board members.
correct.
Keith got a $750 bonus, one-time bonus is what I wrote down. The total was $5,100.
I'm continuing where I was. I still think the three managers should be under a semi-performance related bonus and not just a flat amount based on whatever.
I disagree. I think it's a Christmas bonus. It's something nice at the end of the year.
Well, you call it a Christmas bonus, I call it a year-end bonus.
Okay, on quality year-end bonus, I think that's just me. I think $500 each full-time employee and what they did last year because they were not here all the entire year is fair.
Yeah, and so,
I'm not talking about the employees, I'm talking about the three managers, Chris.
They're still employees. My point is, I think $500 is fair to them also.
Okay, I disagree.
Okay, and well, we got three other board members.
That's why I'm sitting back listening. Anybody?
I see Tony's point, and when I was working, the bonuses were dependent upon position. So you got a couple of different theories there. If you want everyone to be equally rewarded for the team effort, you give them all the same amount. If you want to recognize people who had harder jobs and had more to do with the success, then you vary the amounts depending on position. So I can see both points, and I'm open to what everybody else we should be doing.
Are we talking about this year for our current, like for Keith and Jim, or are we talking about for the incoming positions
No,
we're filling?
we're not, we're talking about the topic of bonuses, because we're talking about the budget. So this is
Yeah, I
kind of
know. Are you talking about bonuses for the managers this year?
not necessarily. I'm just talking, we're talking
Okay.
about the budget. So the budget is 2022.
In general.
but Tony,
I'd be fine with doing more, but I can see both sides to that as well, Tony. Like, I've always worked in corporate world, and all of our staff got year-end bonuses, but upper management did not, just because in nature, we made 2 to 3 times more than they did. So that's why we never did the big bonuses like we did to our staff.
You worked for the wrong companies. There's never a
What?
year that I think you worked for the wrong companies. I was a CEO.
I was very well compensated.
Let's not go there. Okay, go ahead. Derek, you got any input? I think we lost Derek.
Yeah, Derek had to go do dismissal. Kids are getting out of school right now.
Okay, all right, that's understandable. All right, well, it's not part of the budget, so we'll just move on. Keith, I guess back to you. I don't know if you're gonna go through the budget messages. Quite extensive, or people can just read it.
they are extensive. Do you want me to read it? I can if you'd like.
No, I know I've read them all, and I know other board members have probably done the same.
Yeah,
So I think basically the budget is out on the website. People are more than free to go look at it, come up with questions. And the only thing I would add about the population as a whole, if you have questions on the budget, please address them to the manager of FLMD.com and tell them what you're looking for and ask the questions that you have so an answer can be addressed, and if need be, can be discussed at the next month's meeting. So we got 30 days to go look at it and get familiar with it. Any questions that may come up. That being said, I think we move on to a resolution. I only have one. Everybody's on board with that? Okay, resolution 2021-11. And I got a whole page of whereases, which I'll skip because that's nothing but legal jumbo, and go to the resolution. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Forest Lakes Metropolitan Districts, Colorado. This resolution is approved as follows. District employees that have smartphones and that are using their personal cell phones to conduct district business will be reimbursed a flat fee of $20 per month and a $10 for flip non-data phones. I guess I only get $10. For smartphones, the bi-weekly reimbursement will be $10 per pay period and $5 per pay period for the non-flip phones. Currently, the district's full-time employees have smartphones only. The total yearly cost of this to the district would be $2,400. And I'm going to assume that would be within the budget expenses for the next year.
yes.
Okay, I kind of figured that. The monthly reimbursement will be added to each employee's pay statement and will not be taxed because it's a reimbursement.
Mhm.
Yearly cost for this new program will be accounted for as an expense and divided evenly between the general fund, water fund, and the sewer fund. Reimbursements for this entitlement will start on November 1st, 2021. District manager published a policy and procedure dated February 24, 2020. Subject to vehicle and equipment usage policy in paragraph 11 states the following. Employees shall refrain from operating handheld cellular telephones or any other device that may cause vehicles operator while a vehicle is in motion. If vehicle or equipment incidents occur and handheld cellular devices are shown to be a contributing factor, your employee's monthly entitlement will be forfeited. So to have a motion to approve resolutions 2021-11.
I move the adoption of resolution 2021-11.
Thank you, Carissa. A second.
I second.
Thank you, Mandy. I'm in favor of it. Eric is probably not here. And Mark, are you okay with it?
Yes, I'm in favor.
So I can consider it unanimous amongst the board members still present. Approval of disbursement. Here, Mark, here's your moment of fame.
Yes, I move that we approve the monthly expenses for the dates September 14th through October 4th in an amount of $107,822.81.
I second the motion. Carissa, you okay?
Aye.
And Mandy?
Yep.
So, I gotta have my,
Hey, guys, I've got to log off. Sorry, I got to go get kids.
okay, so the approvals are dispersed. So I show the time to be 3:11 p.m. and a motion to adjourn our meeting.
And I'll second.
Mark seconds it. Carissa's shaking her head yes. Mandy's shaking her head yes. Folks, thank you all very much for being here. Have a nice afternoon, and I got news for you. Up here on top of the hill, it's snowing.
We got nothing.
Yeah.
Get your shovels out. Night.
See you guys. We'll be in touch.
Okay.